What if I told you that the secret to success lies not in the answers we seek, but in the questions we ask ourselves? Imagine a world where our motivation and consistency are fueled by the power of self-questioning. This isn't some far-off land, but the reality we can shape for ourselves. Each question we pose, each curiosity we entertain, can lead us down a unique path of self-discovery and growth. How we question ourselves and the world around us determines the path we follow. Imagine two mountains standing tall and proud side by side, two climbers, each aiming for the peak of their respective mountains. In the shadow of their imposing heights, our first climber is brimming with enthusiasm, his eyes sparkling with the thrill of the challenge. He is motivated, his spirit soaring as high as the peak he aims to conquer. He starts his journey with a burst of energy, scaling the difficult terrains with ease. But as time wears on, his enthusiasm wanes. Some days he climbs with vigor, other days he doesn't even make it halfway. His journey is sporadic, unpredictable, a mirror of his wavering motivation. On the other mountain, we find our second climber. Her gaze is steady, her resolve unwavering, yet she lacks the fiery motivation of her counterpart. She doesn't start her climb with a sprint, rather she takes slow, measured steps, a pace she maintains throughout. She doesn't let the daunting heights deter her, nor does she let the easy trails lull her into complacency. Her climb is consistent, methodical, a testament to her disciplined approach. As they both ascend, the mountains test their endurance, their will, and their spirit. Time rolls on, the sun traces its arc across the sky, casting long shadows on the rugged trails. The first climber, despite his initial enthusiasm, finds himself struggling, his progress halting and inconsistent. The second climber, however, continues her steady ascent, her pace unchanging, her progress relentless. Does motivation, that initial burst of energy, guarantee success? Or does consistency, that steady, unwavering commitment, hold the key? The mountains remain silent, their peaks shrouded in the mystery of the impending twilight. As the sun set, only one climber reached the peak. Can you guess who it was? The tale of the two mountains echoes a profound truth about life's journey. The path to success isn't always paved with fiery motivation, but rather it is often the quiet persistence, the consistent effort that leads us to our destination. The climber who reached the peak was not the one filled with motivation on day one, but the one who showed up every single day, regardless of how he felt. Picture this, two climbers, both aiming to reach the same peak. The first climber is brimming with motivation on the first day, filled with fiery determination to conquer the mountain. The second climber, meanwhile, is just steady. He doesn't have the same overwhelming burst of motivation, but he shows up, day after day, taking one step after another towards the summit. Now, who do you think will summit the mountain first? The one who started out with a bang, or the one who maintained a steady pace, never wavering? The truth is, motivation can be fickle. It can burn bright one day and fizzle out the next. But consistency, that's the real game changer. Consistency doesn't rely on how you feel in the moment. It's about showing up time and time again, whether you're on fire or just smoldering. Consistency is what helps us overcome obstacles. It's what helps us build resilience. When faced with a steep incline or a rocky path, it's not the burst of motivation that will get us over the hump. It's the habit of putting one foot in front of the other, day in and day out, regardless of how daunting the path ahead may seem. When we're consistent, we gradually build our strength, our endurance, our resilience. We learn to navigate the rough patches, to endure the steep climbs, and with each step we're inching closer to our goal. It's not about how fast we get there, but that we keep moving, that we don't give up. So remember that climber who reached the peak? He wasn't the one who was filled with motivation on day one. He was the one who showed up every single day, regardless of how he felt. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the size of the mountain in front of you, but the consistency of your steps towards it. Consistency, not high levels of motivation, is what truly moves mountains. But let's not undervalue motivation. It is the spark that ignites the fire, the force that pushes us to start. Motivation, my friends, is the unsung hero in the grand opera of life. It's the silent whisper that nudges us to get up and start moving toward our goals. It's the invisible hand that guides us, the gentle push that propels us forward. It's the little voice in our heads that says, "You can do this, you can make a difference, you can achieve your dreams." Imagine standing at the foot of a mountain, gazing up at its towering peak. The journey to the top seems daunting, almost impossible, but then a spark of motivation flickers within you, whispering, "You can conquer this." That spark is the beginning of everything. It's the first step towards the summit. Motivation is the reason we get out of bed in the morning, the reason we persist when the going gets tough. It's the reason we dare to dream, and the reason we dare to act on those dreams. It's the force that fuels our passions and drives us to strive for more. But motivation isn't just about starting, it's also about maintaining momentum. It's about staying the course even when the path is steep and the obstacles are many. It's about keeping the flame of aspiration alive even when the winds of doubt and fear threaten to extinguish it. Motivation is like a seed. On its own, it's small and unassuming. But given the right conditions, it can grow into something magnificent. It can blossom into a towering tree, a beacon of hope and perseverance. It can bloom into a beautiful flower, a symbol of courage and determination. And just as a seed needs water and sunlight to grow, our motivation needs nourishment too. It needs encouragement and support. It needs belief and faith. It needs a reason to thrive, a purpose to pursue. In the grand scheme of things, motivation is the spark that sets everything in motion. It's the catalyst that triggers change, the spark that ignites the fire of transformation. It's the force that propels us forward, the engine that drives us towards our dreams. Motivation is the spark, but consistency is the fuel that keeps the fire burning. To reach the peak of our mountains, we need both the spark of motivation and the fuel of consistency. Imagine motivation as a spark. It's bright, it's quick, it's the initial burst of energy that propels us forward. It's that sudden inspiration that helps us take the first leap, the first step, the first stride towards our goals. It's the flash of lightning that jolts us into action. But a spark, no matter how bright, is fleeting. It burns out quickly if there's nothing to keep it alive. That's where consistency comes in. Consistency is the fuel that keeps the spark alive. It's the steady, unrelenting force that keeps us going day in, day out. It's the discipline that helps us maintain our momentum, even when the initial spark of motivation has faded. It's the slow burn that keeps the fire going long after the lightning has passed. Motivation and consistency are not opposing forces, but rather two sides of the same coin. They're both crucial for success, and they complement each other beautifully. Motivation provides the initial push, the spark that sets things in motion. Consistency, on the other hand, is the fuel that keeps the engine running, the steady rhythm that sustains us on our journey. Without motivation, we may never start. Without consistency, we may never finish. It's the delicate balance between these two forces that leads to success. It's like a dance, a beautiful interplay of push and pull, of ebb and flow, of spark and fuel. But the beauty of this dance is that it's not set in stone. It's not a fixed choreography, but rather a fluid movement that adapts to the rhythm of our lives. Some days we may need more motivation, other days we may need more consistency, and that's okay. What matters is that we keep dancing, that we keep moving, that we keep climbing. Like the two climbers, we all have our mountains to climb. The question is, will you bring both your spark and your fuel? Remember the power of questions we talked about at the beginning? Let's circle back to that, because it's the cornerstone of your journey to maintain motivation and consistency. Self-questioning is an art, a practice, and a companion on the road to personal growth. It's like a mirror that reflects back to us our desires, our fears, our strengths, and our weaknesses. It's the tool that allows us to take a step back, evaluate our actions, and guide ourselves to the path we aspire to walk. What can you ask yourself, you wonder? Well, questions like, why am I doing this? What's the purpose? How will this help me grow? Am I being true to myself? And am I pushing myself beyond my comfort zone? These questions are not to induce self-doubt, but rather to ignite self-discovery and self-awareness. And when the going gets tough, as it often will, you can ask, what's the lesson here? How can this challenge make me stronger? Am I giving my best? And how can I do better? These questions help you maintain your momentum, keeping you motivated and consistent even when the mountain seems steep. The power of self-questioning can't be overstated. It's your inner compass, guiding you through the fog of life. The questions you ask yourself can either be the wind that extinguishes your fire or the fuel that keeps it burning. Choose wisely.